Imagine the lights went out today. How long could you last? What do you do when you're 3 weeks in, you have an electric stovetop, and you can't cook anymore? What do you do when the gas runs out to your stove? How do you have lights? How do you have warmth? Wouldn't that make you feel just a little bit powerless? Hi guys, I'm Broke Bandit, and on my channel we talk about budget, preparedness, and survival. And today we're going to be talking about my off-grid solar generator setup. I've tried to buy the cheapest solar generator I could find, and it doesn't have a lot of power, so we had to get creative. So before we jump into it, let's focus on just the generator. Alright guys, so my solar generator, this is a Jackery Explorer 300 Plus. This is not an ad for the Jackery. The reason I bought the Jackery over any of the other solar generator brands is because I found it on sale. Something you're going to want to note when you do buy your first solar generator is whatever the brand is, it will only interface with more stuff of that brand. So for instance, the solar panels that came with it, we'll see if I can get it in light, is also Jackery. What you're able to do with these is you're able to buy more powerful solar generators over time and hook your old solar generators up to them to make them even more powerful. That being said, if the brands don't line up, they won't do that. So I don't care what brand you pick, but when you get one, you got to stick with that brand. Second thing I want to talk about, so this Jackery, it retails for $300. I know that's a lot, but I budgeted for it, and then when I had the money, I was able to find this on sale for about $225.
Nice, very nice. Thanks.
It comes with a solar panel that is 288 watt hours of power. Basically what that means is it's a 300 watt solar generator, and this will charge it at 288 watts. What that roughly translates to is under direct sunlight, it takes 4 to 5 hours to charge. You can also plug this into a wall when you do have electricity charged up. I like to keep it fully charged and prepped for emergencies. The generator itself is 300 watts, that's 120 volts. And what that roughly translates to is not a lot of power. This is one of the cheapest ones on the market. And so we're going to get really creative in what we do with this. But I've created a system that will allow me to cook food without a fire, because starting a fire in my apartment is not a great idea. And then starting a fire out in my apartment parking lot where anybody can see what I'm doing, if people are starving and I have food I'm cooking out there and they don't, that's a big issue. So we're going to go into my cooking system here, but before we jump into that, just what this comes with is it comes with a normal wall outlet charger. It has 2 USB-C plugins and 1 USB-A plugin. It also has a plugin for those like car charger things, so if you want to, I don't know, light a cigarette, stick a hot dog in there, you can cook things that way, I guess. And then it also has a light. It's kind of nice to just have some ambient lighting if you don't have power at night. It really is hard to get around. It will get pitch black in here. And so having just an extra light is nice. We'll also jump into like just a little rechargeable flashlight I got as another light option. So that's the solar generator. Let's jump into my cooking system. All right. So this is my system for off-grid cooking. What it is this is a, I am not going to pronounce these right. This is an Ukulork electric kettle, and it retails for $35 on Amazon. It's basically a electric tea kettle plus a thermos built into one. And what it's really going to do is at 300 watts of electricity, it's going to be able to boil water, it's going to be able to cook canned soup, things like that.
Good soup.
Being able to boil water is huge when it comes to cooking. Let's say you're one of those people who you have those like boxed mountain house, like 3 months of food like stacked in your garage or something. I'm not that bougie, but all of those packs, they require hot water to cook that food. And so being able to, without electricity, boil that water, that's a big deal. You can also cook pastas, instant potatoes. If you're balling on a budget like me, I just pour a whole can of soup in there, and I cook it up, and there's my calories. Cans of soup, it's only so many calories. So I've been doing this since I was a little kid, but my family's always been balling on a budget. We add rice to our canned soup just to get a little more calories in there. It's pretty cheap. This is a Chakif. This is a Chakif mini rice cooker. It will also cook rice at 300 watts of power, so it works with the solar generator. And that's a big staple of my survival food, is canned soup with rice added. There's other things you can do to add like proteins and stuff, and I'll also admit that this setup is not as versatile as like a camp stove or a jet boil, at least for cooking. That being said, propane runs out. Hopefully the sun doesn't. And so I'm going with this system right now because I know it won't fail me. As long as I have sunlight, I can get more power and I can keep cooking. As far as the rice cooker goes, it's pretty easy. 1 cup of rice, 1.5 cups of water. I think it'll only do up to 2 cups, but for every cup of rice, add 1.5 cups of water, and then all you do is you push this knob down, and it starts cooking. And so let's start cooking a meal on this to show that it works, and then I'll jump into the other things I do while it's cooking. Hi, sir. Hi, sir. You smell it, don't you? I open the can of soup and my dog just immediately perks up. Hi. Do you want to jump up on the table and show everybody? Come here. Hey, come on. Come on up. Hi, what's going on, sir? What's going on, sir? I'm recording a video. I'm recording a video. Hello. Hello. Are you done? All right, let's get down. Get down. Good boy. Good boy. All right, so we plugged that in and we got it cooked. It started beeping in the middle of one of my takes, and so we're just redoing the whole take. But all I do on this is I set it to just above 200 degrees while it's plugged into this generator, and it'll get water boiling just fine. It'll get this can of soup boiling. Once it reaches the 200 degree temperature, it's already bubbling. It's also a thermos, so I just set it aside. Before we start on the rice, because that will stay nice and hot, I want to talk about something else that makes my life a lot easier when the power's out. That's also solar charged. This is a Rainick emergency radio. It connects to the National Weather Service, but it also connects to a bunch of FM channels if you want your pop music, stuff like that. It's charged by solar panels, but it also can be powered by AAA batteries or a hand crank. So as long as you have batteries, sunlight, or time to crank it, and we all got time to crank it.
What did he say?
You have power. Now, it also acts as a power bank, so you can charge flashlights and phones on it. I wouldn't trust it to charge anything bigger than that. I don't know how much watts it puts out, but it's not going to charge anything bigger than like your cell phone, but it's still nice to have. It also has an ambient light feature under the solar panels that you can turn on to help light your room, and it also acts as an emergency flashlight, so it also has a flashlight feature. Very nice, very handy, a lot of tools in one. But I like it to charge my smaller devices so that it doesn't tax the battery in my solar generator as I'm using it to cook these more, let's say like electricity expensive items. That way my stuff just doesn't drain the battery as much. I like prepping cheap. This is just great value white rice. That's 1 cup white rice. And now we're just gonna add 1.5 cups of water. Once it's closed, throw this lever down. And that's cooking. As far as the rice goes, this is not going to be cooked as soon as the soup. This takes probably about 20 minutes to get up and go. In the meantime, let's talk about the last little thing I have. All right, last thing I have, it can be plugged into this, it can be plugged into my radio. This is just a Walmart brand, $10 Ozark Trail electric flashlight. I don't know the lumens this puts out or anything like that. I just know that it is a flashlight that I can reliably recharge. Having nice flashlights is nice, but as far as flashlights go, a flashlight is a flashlight, and it's just nice to have one that doesn't require batteries. So let's say power's out for a while and I don't have any batteries left. This is something I can fall back on. That's really it for now. I'll come back to you guys when the rice is done, but yeah, this is my off-grid solar setup. And you know, something else I want to talk about just while this cooks is, while I'm going to put the links to everything I have in the description of my video, you don't have to directly copy my setup. Figure out what you're storing, figure out the power the generator you buy has, and make it work. Cooking is very taxing on solar generators and generators in general. 300 watts, from my experience, is really the smallest you can go and still be able to cook. That being said, maybe you have cooking figured out and there's just other things you want your generator for. That's fine. Really just make it work, figure out what you need, figure out the electricity that takes, and then figure out what generator is going to cover that. $300, even though I got for $225, I had to budget for like 6 months to buy one, just because, you know, it's not an everyday expense, and so I didn't want to like panic buy it or like really dip into anything to get it. So I'd save up for it slowly, and that's fine. Like, make this work with your life. Get it when you're ready. Don't make preparedness run your life. Prepare around your life. I hope that helps. I'll get back to you when the rice is done. Peace. All right, guys, this is about done. And so we're going to go ahead and open this up. Just make our meal. Some closing thoughts. Yeah, it's done. So with both meals done, the power left on this is 64%. So you got about 2 cooked meals a day out of this if you don't charge it in between. It's not perfect, but that's good enough, at least for my needs. The last thought that I have as I'm finishing up here is that, you know, all these fun toys we buy in the survival world, the guns, the tents, the generators, I mean, you name it. The water filtering systems, there's a little bit of everything in this world, and the price stacks up fast. Budget for it. But also, none of that is worth it if you don't play with this stuff. Go camping. Go have fun. Go shooting with a couple of buddies. Go hiking with your wife. I don't care. Just have fun with this stuff. You know, this whole survival thing, it really did start as a hobby for me, and it is great to be prepared. It is necessary and essential to be prepared. at the end of the day, this stuff is really fun. Don't be afraid to let it be fun. Don't be afraid to play with this stuff. So that's it. I got a nice warm meal without using any electricity that wasn't provided by the sun. Have a good day. I love you guys. Please comment what else you want to see me cover. If there's anything I can add to this little solar rig that would make my life easier without power, let me know what you guys do. Don't be afraid to like and subscribe. I love you guys. Be safe. I'll see you in the next video.